tell us a little bit what happened and why were you stopped from going into the country of Colombia to be an international observer of the elections?
Well, so I was joining a delegation out of Toronto. It was a Canadian organized delegation, and we were invited by a human rights organization to come and observe the elections, and I joined that delegation. I will say one of the reasons I think this is important because one of the reasons I specifically asked to join the delegation in Canada is that one of the requirements to participate on that delegation was that the delegates have prior electoral observation experience. In my case, I've observed 5 elections in the past 14, 16 months and was invited by the official state electoral bodies. 5 elections throughout Latin America. And so this delegation was particularly interesting to me because everyone had to have prior experience observing elections and some human rights observation experience as well. When I arrived Bogota on the morning of, what is it now, May 22nd, my name was immediately recognized by the immigration officer. She handed my passport to a second officer sitting behind her who flipped through my passport and didn't like what he saw and stood up and said, "Miss Matson, please come with me now." I was taken to the immigration offices, was asked how long I would be staying, and I said I have a flight on June 1st, right after the elections, and was basically told I would be going home within the next 24 hours. So I had no interview, so to speak. It was basically, why are you here? I explained the election observation delegation. They did ask for my itinerary. They did double check, the immigration officers being they, did check the hotel reservations for all 3 destinations, and I, of course, did have reservations. And then there really wasn't much more conversation. What I realized at the end of the hour or so was that the whole time they had been basically, preparing my immigration documents. When I was told to approach the officers, and they said, we're denying you entry to the country today. Here's why. They said I was a threat to Colombian state security and a threat to national sovereignty. And that was pretty shocking. It was very shocking, and they showed me the documentation, the paperwork to deny me entry. And in the upper right-hand corner, the document identifies me as Argentine, which I'm not. I don't have an Argentine passport. I've never been nationalized or anything. I'm a U.S. citizen. I was traveling on a U.S. passport. So I was identified as an Argentine national with U.S. residency. And then they showed me, why they were deporting me. They asked me to sign the document, and I refused to. On the signature line, it says that if the person refuses to sign or is unable to sign, the state can sign on his or her behalf. So I asked for a copy of the document. There's a big professional photocopier sitting behind us, one that you could print a book on. I asked for a copy of the document, and I was told no. I asked if I could take a picture of it with my phone and was told, you can't use your phone in these offices. Well, my phone was never taken when I was escorted into the offices. My phone was never taken away. I was never told to shut it off. My laptop was never taken away. My bags were never checked. My carry-on bag was never checked, and yet I'm designated a threat to state security. So it was very odd, and it was unsettling, very odd. I was escorted. My passport and the immigration paperwork was given to the airline attaché. I was escorted to the international departure wing at El Dorado, and the airline held my passport for the night. I spent, 9 o'clock in the morning on the 22nd through 8 a.m. on the 23rd in the departure terminal, and was flown back to the States on Monday the 23rd. I still have no explanation.
Did the U.S. Embassy help you out at all?
Oh no! Well, we should probably talk about that. I did call the U.S. Embassy in Bogota because I, at the very least, wanted the United States government to know that I was in Colombia with no passport in my hand, and they basically said they don't get involved in state affairs in Colombia, and that when I got back to the U.S., I could file a report with the embassy in Bogota via email.
You've been an international observer to delegations in Venezuela, Nicaragua, Honduras, and many other countries, in Cuba, Mexico, Ecuador. I mean, the list goes on. So, in retrospect, what do you see right now happening when, of course, the Biden administration and the State Department exclude Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Cuba, and yet there's this pushback with this People's Summit and other protests and other organizations are rising up and fighting against that? What do you think that signifies for the current state of diplomacy in the world right now?
Well, I think there's two worlds. And one has emerged and is continuing to expand, and one is on the verge of decline and holding on by the skin of its teeth. Sorry for the cliche, but really. And I think it's the United States clearly that's holding on to the last of its influence as we see the global South and Eurasia. I mean, those of us who've been working, particularly doing anti-sanctions work with Cuba for 60 years, and Venezuela and Nicaragua, Iran, many countries, we understand that this is an attempt to stop people from trading in a paradigm outside of the West. It's to stop multilateralism. And the multilateralism has emerged, and it's growing, and it's strong, and it's desirable, and not just to governments but to the people. And the United States wants complete control, unilateral control, politically, militarily, and economically.